already know, man. It's Deion Dawkins, and you listening to the Real Deal Sports Show on the Beat 105.5.
Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to the Real Deal Sports Show, coming to you live from the Rock Palm Broker Studios. Hey, I got the Rock Palm Broker shirt on in studio, live in studio this morning. So if you, holiday season coming up, get on over there to State Street. Check out Sammy Cruz and the gang, because they got it going on over there for holiday savings and the whole 9 yards. Doesn't matter if a government shutdown or not, Rock Palm Broker still got it going on, and that's why we broadcast live each and every Saturday morning from the Rock Palm Broker Studios. Real Deal Sports Show with the Rad Man. Hey, my Dolphin fans, oh my God, I was getting text messages from where y'all been? Oh my goodness, man, some of these people, they're coming all out of the woodwork from all over the place, from D.C., Virginia. Man, y'all were texting me in the third quarter. The game wasn't even over yet, man. I said, hold up, man. I know we get that butt kicked, but hey, man. And also, how fitting could it have been? Because if you remember last Saturday morning, we dedicated the show to Earl Wilson. Earl Wilson, of Wilson Brothers Contracting, one of the biggest Dolphin fans in the city of Rochester, all of Rochester. He bled those colors through and through. He was always tailgating out at the stadium with about 50 other Dolphin fans with their leather jackets on and all the Dolphin medallion, all the undefeated season logos, 1972 and on. Oh, my gosh. Hey, Earl, the guys were looking down on you, your team on Sunday. I know he would have been so proud of his Miami Dolphins and your Miami Dolphins, all y'all cats who texted all across the country, Dolphin fans, and especially here in Rochester, New York, because there's an awful lot of Dolphin fans. And we're going to talk about that game, about the ass kicking the Buffalo Bills took last week down there in South Beach. I don't know if the plane got in later. They went out and partied. They had some cocktails the night before on South Beach. I don't know if they broke curfew. We still trying to get to the bottom of it, but we're gonna get to it later in the show. Right now, J-GILLZ, we're going to get in some NBA talk because a lot going on in the NBA. Bilal Smith is with us as well here on Real Deal Sports Show. J-GILLZ, tell us about that. What's going on with the NBA?
Man, it's always so much going on around the league, but I will have to say first, you ain't never got to look for a Dolphins fan on the Real Deal Sports Show. J-GILLZ always going to be here, all right? I'm going to always be here, and I try to tell y'all about that. We're going to talk about that a little later. But, man, there's been so much going on in the world of basketball. I mean, it's just been crazy. When you talk about some of these MVP candidates, they've been all over the place. You got Giannis Antetokounmpo. You got the Joker leading the league in assists, leading the league in rebounds, and still dropping 27 a game, man. Some of the stuff I'm seeing from these world players is incredible. Luka Doncic, Giannis Antetokounmpo, of course, the reigning MVP, J-GILLZ. And it leads me to say, Radman, I don't know when the USA, when these basketball players from here is going to step up and handle business. It seems like this game just keeps on growing internationally, and all these European players is just continue to having dominance over this great game of basketball. So that's one concern I might have. But number two, man, big news, big news. We all know what shook the NBA last season. Luka Doncic getting traded to the Los Angeles Lakers in a blockbuster for Anthony Davis. And, man, the ramifications of that have definitely showed itself. Nico Harrison, former GM of the Dallas Mavericks, getting fired, let go, done in Dallas. And, man, I think that everybody saw that coming. I couldn't believe it, but I think it was fitting for him to go ahead and unfortunately lose his job after that trade that had everybody scratching their heads, wondering why would you trade a prime Luka for an injury-prone Anthony Davis. The Dallas Mavericks are finding themselves with 3 wins on the season, one of the worst teams in the Western Conference. And, man, the ramifications are as such. Nico Harrison out in Dallas.
Wow, hit the like button, everybody. Hit the like. Bilal, comments on that?
I don't know why it took so long. Why would you go into another season with the GM who made that trade? So that's the only. I'm not surprised by it. I'm surprised by the timing. If when the trade happened, I don't know. I mean, they say I guess all you got to be is real convincing and real persuasive, but because somehow he was able to convince Dallas that a smart basketball move was to trade Luka Doncic. I do think when healthy, Kyrie, AD, and this young boy coming out of Duke, man, I think that nucleus will be very competitive as the season goes on. But at the time, they didn't know if they were going to be able to get flagged. You know what I mean? So coming out of the draft, they had a 19% chance to end up with the number one pick, and somehow they still were able to land it. So I guess the basketball world was in favor, was winking on Dallas Mavericks because you cannot trade an all-world level player such as Luka Doncic. And again, as much as I love and respect AD's game, I mean he's a bucket and a defender. His injury history has always been inconsistent in terms of being able to be available to be on the court. And to me, every professional athlete has always said the best ability is availability. And if you can't be available, then why would we trade a guy in his prime for someone who might be on the other side of his?
Absolutely.
I think you make a great point, honestly, because when you look at the potential of what the Dallas Mavericks could have been, mind you, and obviously with Luka just coming off of a finals, you know what I mean? That was the nucleus of the team. But you add those big centers, those gaffers, and like Lively, and you know what I mean? Those guys definitely proved to be an excellent defensive team. You add a guy like AD, and of course the nucleus, who is a Kyrie Irving. You take Kyrie out of the equation, any team's going to suffer without that dynamic of a player in Kyrie Irving. So the potential was always there, but unfortunately, like you said, when you talk about Anthony Davis, you talk about the injury history, even Kyrie Irving, him never really playing seasons, the likelihood was that this team wasn't going to get the games in. And now we're seeing the ramifications of that, and that's 3 wins on the season sitting at the bottom of the West.
Absolutely, but you got to remember, as I remember when Nico made the press conference announcing that he was trading him, he said the guy never came. He came late to practice. He never stayed on weight. He was overweight all the time. They kept trying to tell him during the offseason, you got to stay in shape. He showed up late. He showed up out of shape. Twice a year he was injured due to him being out of shape, and he's trying to work his way back into shape. So I
hear you, man.
So the man, what was the man supposed to do?
No, what you do is you understand that he's a 25-year-old, still real young guy still, and you work with him. You know what I mean? You continue to coach him up because you know what that overweight kid was getting you. He got you to the finals. Mm-hmm. Okay. So it's hard to impress upon a guy how important it is to get in the weight room, to lose weight, to do all these health conscious things when what he's giving you on the court is producing and is working. I remember Shaquille O'Neal said in an interview one time, he said, I went into Pat Riley's office one day and he said, I want you to lose this much weight, get down to this body fat percentage, when he had left LA and went over to Miami. And he said he called Alonzo Mourning in the locker room or in the office and said, "Hey, Zoe, man, take your shirt off. Show him how built you are." He said after Zoe did all that, he said I went and pulled out my numbers against Alonzo. He said 31-15 was my average against Alonzo Mourning in games we played against each other. So he could look like a walking action figure all he wants. What I put on the court, what I produce on the court, you can't argue with. You know what I mean? And so when you got a guy who can produce on the court, it's hard to now just use that as something that you're holding against them. So I think sports psychology is so important. You got to find ways to motivate or encourage guys. You can't just come up to a guy and just say, "Hey, you got to do this, you got to do that." It's not working in general, and it's especially not working with an athlete who's producing big numbers for you.
Absolutely. And around the league, guys, I hear what you're saying. J-GILLZ, I know the Lakers. I know you're talking about the Lakers. Who else? Lakers, and who else you think is going to be dangerous this season?
Well, for one, I'm definitely loving the Lakers, and I think what we're seeing from them without LeBron James, is excellent. I thought that pickup of DeAndre Ayton, a true 7-footer, a true big who can defend, who can score, was very important for them, especially in that Western Conference. You're going to need as much size as you can see. But I think that looking at what we've been watching all season, I don't think anybody's going to stop Oklahoma City. And that's without Jalen Williams, their second best player. They still got the kid they drafted 2 years ago who hasn't played. The 6-7 point guard, forgot his name. But they just all over the place. They had the youthfulness, bearing any injuries. You know what I mean? I think OKC is a runaway favorite. But what I'm seeing from Nikola Jokic, man, I know you can't do it by yourself, but he might be literally top 5 of all time, man. Anytime you got this 16 kid, not kid, he's a grown man, but averaging 13 assists, 10 rebound, a triple double at his size. Man, he's one of the best to do it right now. And honestly, I think anytime you have a player like that, that's going to be dangerous. That's another dangerous team right there. So, and the two top teams in the West are my favorites. That's OKC and Denver. I don't see anybody stopping them. And then when you talk about the Eastern Conference, man, I ain't even worried about none of them, man. The East is looking weak right now. The Knicks is getting banged up right now. Mike Williams, my man Mike Brown was trying to do his thing, but I don't see. I think what Detroit is trying to make some motion. Giannis and Doc Rivers and them, I can never count on them. And until my man Jason Tatum get healthy in the Celtics, I think the East right now is. I'm not too fond of the East, but when you talk about that Western Conference, that's some excellent basketball. I can't wait for that basketball playoff season. I know we're a long ways away.
Yeah,
but I can't wait for that playoff basketball.
So I hear you. I hear you on the Thunder, and but they're doing what a young team is supposed to do. They're still strong. They still got the long season legs in them. If you look at most of the Western Conference, they are a little longer in the tooth. So those teams, the Golden States, the Lake, and as much as the Lakers are right around in there, and I think they're fourth in the standing right now. But those older teams, but again, you look, Rockets right now third in the Western Conference standing. OKC number 1, of course, but again, they're doing what those young teams, those young legs are supposed to be doing right now. They don't mind the long haul of the season. Doesn't get those. If we could think back to when we was in our prime. Listen, we go to the court and listen. We run all day. You know what I mean? That's just how it was. When you get a little more seasoning, you gotta be more methodical and strategic about how you maintain your health. Because here's the reality is that what you are now judged by, and again, this is just the reality of the way the NBA is at this point. Your legacy is going to be determined and judged by how many rings you got, what you did in the postseason. So for the Kevin Durant's, for the LeBron James, for the Steph Curry's, if you're still around and you're still playing, you're playing for the postseason. You're not playing, as long as you can make the play in, that if we get a play in, we will get it. We'll get in somewhere, and things get real interesting now when you got to play a team and you got to beat them 4 out of 7, and there's no back-to-backs. So I hear you on the Thunder, but I think those teams that we know to be around, those staple teams, are going to still be there come the postseason. And I'm not, I hear you on Jokic, all the triple-double stuff. I'm not a hater. I'm a historian. Arvydas Sabonis in his prime was every bit, to me, the player that Jokic is. We just didn't get a chance to see him in the NBA until he was past his prime in a much more physical league during that time than Jokic plays in now. There's no bigs. He should be doing what he's doing. The entire offense runs through him. He's doing exactly what he should be doing with a player his skill set.
Absolutely. Thank you for saying that.
No bigs allowed. Are you kidding me? Giannis Antetokounmpo, Victor Wembanyama, Joel Embiid.
No true bigs. Those are swing bigs.
Come on, man.
Swing bigs. Tall, lanky guys. No true bigs.
We got a long season. We got a long season, guys, to follow up on this NBA talk for sure. And it's going to be very interesting with you guys here talking NBA action. And this segment of NBA action was brought to you by the award-winning Miriam-Rivera Insurance Agency, Auto, Home, Health, and Life Insurance, 1038 Lyle Avenue or 511 Bean Road, Suite B. Give her a call, 585-360-0094. Give her a call. And, hey, she's still looking for employees. She's expanding her staff. If you're looking for employment opportunities, learning the insurance agency and industry, give Miriam a call for employment opportunities, 585-360-0094. If Miriam Rivera saved me and the Radman family a hell of a lot of money, I guarantee she helped save you a hell of a lot of money as well. And our next segment coming up, Challenging Community News, Western New York's largest weekly African-American newspaper. Check out my article about the Bills, talk about what happened in Miami, and also the future of Bean and McDermott with the Bills, all in my article in this week's Challenging Community News. Pick it up at most businesses in the community, or also you can pick the paper up online, or listen, check it out online at Buff, BuffChallNews.com. S is in Sam, BuffChallNews.com. Buff Chall, BuffChallNews. Check it out, Challenging Community News online. You can check out the articles also, the health and fitness section, the Black History section, entertainment section, a lot going on. So check it out in Challenging Community News each and every week. Gentlemen, we move into football. Buffalo Bills were just they played they left it all on the field against the Kansas City Chiefs and didn't have anything in reserve. And Bilal, you mentioned it last week. You said if Miami get out early, is that the Bills might be in trouble or will be in trouble, and that's what the Dolphins did. Waddle came out there, did his thing. It looked like Miami was ready to jump on the Bills. What's your comment, Bilal?
Yeah, we talked about it like you said. That game against the Kansas City Chiefs, and we said it was it has that potential to be a trap game because you go out there and you put it all on the field to beat the giants of the AFC, and then you go into Miami thinking we almost got a week off, but we know football. Division rivalry games are always going to be played tough, and the Miami Dolphins showed they were a game competitor, and you cannot at that level of football in the NFL, you cannot come out there and not put together your best game. You're not supposed to beat an NFL team when you turn the ball over 3 times. And I mean, they get drives going, and you saw uncharacteristic stuff. Josh Allen moving a pile, puts the ball on the turf, turnover, drive killers, momentum killers, and every time you thought Buffalo might be on the verge of doing something, the amount of comeback, Miami would respond with a big play or a good drive. And I would say, to their credit, the Dolphins did not roll over. There have been games this season where when teams have started to mount that comeback, you see Miami not be able to find themselves and stop the bleeding. They were able to stop the bleeding against the Bills, and again, credit to that coaching staff and that team, because they've all been under fire all season. So to be able to come back or hold a lead against the Bills, I think it says a lot about that team's character in the locker room. And sometimes you need
absolutely. I got to jump in on this one. Let's go and hear what Deion Dawkins had to say about the Bills' performance in Miami, what they need to do this week against Tampa Bay to turn things around. Let's hear from Buffalo Bills. And got Key of the City. Congratulations, Deion Dawkins received the Key of the City for all the charitable work. He does a lot in the community. Now, he leaves it not only on the field, but in the community with the charitable work that he does in the African-American community, in the overall community, but especially for the brown and black kids of Western New York. Let's hear what Deion Dawkins had to say.
Still in the middle of the season, so thankful for that.
How do you make this not a trend, getting back up there?
We just hit practice hard and remind ourselves every week that it's hard to win in this league and come out swinging. Don't get punched first, punch them first, Just consistently remind yourself and remind your teammates that It's hard to win in this league, and we have to be at our best at all time. Can never let the shield down at all.
Injuries happen in this. Injuries happen in this league. I get it. It happens. It's 100% injury rate, as you say a lot. But is it frustrating just the number that you guys have been impacted with the injuries this year?
It's the football. It's football, man. I wish that I could speak on the injuries, but who knows? Injuries come and go. They come at any point, and you can never define the season on an injury. Like, it's 100% injury rate, and it's all a part of it. Just like fumbles and interceptions and tackles for losses, and wins and losses are a part of the game. So we just got to roll with what we're roll with. Take our shots.
This kind of result, it's rare over the years. You've been here a long time. What's Sean's message in a moment like this when there's such an unexpected result?
Just hit the drawing board, and stay mentally and locked in, and remind yourself every day that it's hard to be winners. It's hard to win in this league, and we need to show the true version of the Buffalo Bills at all times.
There you have it. Deion Dawkins, it was not a happy locker room after this game last Sunday down there in South. And also the reports, guys were dehydrated. It looked like guys weren't ready. And that's coaching. And we would go back to 3 years ago when people were saying Leslie Frazier was really the backbone of the coaching staff and really was doing a lot of the head coaching job back when Leslie Frazier was a part of the team. And for your team to go down there, and another person, Tim Graham, a Buffalo media guy with The Athletic, asked the question and said, hey, Coach, how come the team didn't have rain gear? Well, how come you didn't bring rain gear? It looked like there was no rain gear brought. And it was a tropical storm came through, and like it always does, they didn't even have raincoats. Those guys were over there getting soaked. So it's the little things that we're seeing not taking place with the Buffalo Bills the last couple of years. They're not dotting the T's and crossing the T's and dotting the I's and all of that. If you don't have your raincoats, man, man, you ain't bring your rain gear to South Beach in the fall during tropical storm season, Bilal?
That's a great point. When you're talking about playing at a high level, at the highest level, you gotta be attention to detail is everything. So you can't have those mental errors where you're talking about not remembering to bring rain gear and raincoats. Those athletes got to be able to perform. But there was something that I thought was really telling that Deion Dawkins said in the interview. He said, we have to remind ourselves that it's hard to win. When you're saying we got to remind ourselves, that means we had a moment of memory lapse. And so again, we were riding real high off of a win against Kansas City, and then we followed it up thinking that we were just going to be able to go in and beat this lame duck team and lame duck coach, and as he said, we were reminded that it's hard to win in the NFL, and you got to keep that at the forefront. What I'm really surprised though is that they need to be reminded this late in the season, knowing that this is a Super Bowl caliber season for them.
Absolutely. J-GILLZ, your comments.
Well, I think when you're talking about the the game last week, I recall us trying to win some folks some money. I recall that spread being 10 points. And,
Yep.
I tried to tell y'all, I said, don't take the 10. They always play to the close. And I recall both of y'all trying to tell me that it was going to be a blowout. I said, oh, no. I know. To me, it's two things that we saw and why the Bills got completely destroyed by the Miami Dolphins last week. Two things. One, you have to give them credit. You have to give the Dolphins credit. This was the most prepared I've seen this Dolphins team all season. When you look at, the week before they had that game at home, they played the Ravens pretty tough. They end up losing in dramatic fashion towards the last 3 quarters of the game. That first quarter played pretty tough, but they were at home that whole time in Miami. They've been in Miami a long time, waiting on the Buffalo Bills to get to Miami. They were the most prepared I've seen them. So I got to give credit, as you said, below, to the coaching staff and McDaniel to have that team as prepared, knowing that they've been in Miami for weeks. So that's easy to be distracted. Very easy to be distracted. Number two, I think that the Miami Dolphins just exploited the Bills. The way that they lost, these are some of the key key pieces and reasons why I don't think that they're going to be ready to go in the playoffs. They have the worst rushing defense in the league. Any team can run on Miami. The Dolphins exploited that. Devon A. Chain went off. I think it's still some cleats on the field in Miami, the way he was shaking those defenders last week, just gashing them for rush after rush. The Bills, their receiving core, they cannot get any separation. The Dolphins, name me a player in the Miami secondary not named Big Fitzpatrick. I'll wait. And guess what? Those guys couldn't get any separation on the Miami Dolphins secondary. The Buffalo Bills offense, they just don't have it done. When you look at the key pieces that they've drafted, whether it's Keon Coleman, Dalton Kincaid, these aren't the type of pieces that's going to get it done for Josh Allen. And it's making it look even worse when I look at a guy like Xavier Worthy, who they traded. They could have drafted him, but they traded him. They traded the pick to the Chiefs. Imagine the speed in which Xavier Worthy could help this offense. Just having a guy who can run a 4-2 and can just split the field, split the defense downfield. They don't have anything on offense outside of Josh Allen, and it's being more and more evident. I think what you saw from the Dolphins last week is going to be the type of film that these teams are going to have moving forward. And I'm very worried about the Buffalo Bills, especially when we talk about the postseason, because you got teams like Denver and that tough defense in that running game, teams like Indianapolis with that tough defense, just traded for Sauce Gardner, Jonathan Taylor. And we saw the Kansas City Chiefs, they couldn't impose their will offenses like they wanted to because Pacheco was hurt. Had he been in the game, who would have known? They would have they could have did whatever they wanted. So I'm very worried about the Buffalo Bills. And I think the Miami Dolphins, this game will be pivotal moving forward.
Exactly. Morris Thompson says, a big Dolphin fan. Hey, I love the picture of you with the head on, Morris. Thank you for sending me that picture of it. Your boys, I don't think they're back yet, but they might be moving in the right direction. Morris Thompson down on the Beltway, a regular listener and on the show on the online says, no matter how bad a season Miami has, they always seem to split with Buffalo, and that's the truth. They do always seem to split with the Bills. So that goes to what you're saying, J-GILLZ, about that spread from last week, and definitely how's it going. But we're gonna give our predictions on that game. Also, the Bills picked up Mecole Hardman, a speedster that used to be with the Kansas City Chiefs. The Bills picked him up, but the problem is he had micro surgery on his fractured hip. He had a fractured pelvis, hip surgery, one of those specialized surgeries, and he's never been the same since that surgery. You can tell it's a little different. That's why he's not with Kansas City anymore right now. If he was the Mecole Hardman that we saw with KC when he first came out, I believe Kansas City would have kept him. They wouldn't have drafted Xavier Worthy. They still would have kept Mecole Hardman, or they may have just went ahead and said, hey, it's time to move on, like the good teams do. They move on. They get somebody else to fill the role, and that's what Buffalo has not done. Their draft, number 1 through number 3 draft picks have been horrible. But even Dalton Kincaid, he can't seem to stay on the field. How you limping off with a hamstring in humid weather? I mean, man, come on. Dalton Kincaid, it's always something with this guy. He can't finish a game. He got an oblique problem. He got a hamstring problem. This guy can't stay on the field. And if you can't stay on the field, you can't win in the National Football League. You just can't do it. No way, no how. Hey, our next segment guest, because we got the Bills Tampa Bay on Sunday, but then we got the Bills Houston Texans on Thursday. I'll be down in Houston, Texas for that game on Thursday night. Next segment is brought to you by Experience Award-winning authentic Indian food in a warm, inviting atmosphere, Thalia of India. Hey, y'all got to go. We throw down when we go to that buffet out there at Thalia, India. The lunch buffet served from 11:30 to 2 p.m. and dinner served from 4:40 to 8:30 p.m. They're located at 3259 South Winton Road in the Win Jeff Plaza. The buffet is off the chain. I hope to see you out there. When you go out there, let them know you heard about their buffet and their restaurant on the Real Deal Sports Show. That's Thalia of India. Experience the award-winning authentic Indian food, and they have won they voted Rochester's #1 buffet, and that's buffet in any category, not just in Indian food. In any category, they're voted the best buffet in Rochester, New York. So check them out and see why they're award-winning Thalia of India. And we're going to go down to Houston, Texas. We're going to check out Houston. I'm sure it's not frosty there like we got frost on our cars outside. I'm looking out at my car. I hope I don't have to go out there with the scraper again like I did the last 3 days, scraping off frost, making my way out of the household late today, AD. How you doing, AD? Welcome
Good morning, gentlemen. Good morning, Western New York. What's up, players? See, man, where the devil you come? You talking about curry food, Indian food, hot curry food with me. Here it is early in the morning. I haven't even had my breakfast, and you already talking about hot Indian curry food. Really, George?
Well, hey, next time you're up here, man, I'm taking you over to Delhi or India. I think we tear it up over there, man. We'll throw it down for sure.
Hey, not a problem, man. Looking forward to catching up with you when you get in town on when you get in town on Tuesday night, man. So looking forward to it, bro.
Excellent, always. And what's going on with the Houston Texans? What can we expect from them on Thursday night?
Your guess is as good as mine, man. Look, here's the deal, man. Texans' record is 4-5. The Texans, I'm going back to an old Bill Parks. Your record is what you say it is. They have the inconsistent play on the offensive line, a brand new OC, and the offensive coordinator. And this is growing pains. You had a matured young quarterback in CJ Stroud, although he's out now. He won't be playing tomorrow in Tennessee. And be quite candid with you, George, the Bills might not see CJ Thursday night.
Really?
He's as best as I can tell them from what I'm understanding, he hadn't made it through the protocols yet. So he's out tomorrow. So, and the fact that they're going to have a short week after Tennessee, and then they got a short week coming up, there's really no practice time or anything like that for him to get back. You'll probably be looking at Davis Mills under the taking the snaps Thursday night against the Bills, man. So that's the situation in a nutshell, man.
Why does your head coach? Why does he keep changing the offensive lineman? I thought Tono, the guy they traded, I thought he was an all pro. I mean, why would every year you changing your offensive lineman? Why is he doing that?
Nick, I mean, let's go back to the GM, man. I mean, everybody makes an analysis on how they value their team. There's an amount that everybody places on how they value their team. Right now, they trying to get by on C.J. Stroud's rookie contract. You got rid of Larry Thompson. Be quite candid with you. Larry was getting ready coming up for another big contract, and they made the decision that no, we're not going to pay Larry. They've already paid Larry a couple of made a couple of payments to Larry. Nice contract, bumped his contract, and then this is the third go around. So anyway. They decided to move on. It's a value deal, just like any other team, just like they were making Buffalo. You decide where you want to place your money at because CJ Stroud and Will Anderson, they're gonna have to get paid next year, regardless of the circumstances. So, and now you got Ariante Irsay and George. I'm gonna state this right now. This young man, the second round draft pick out of Minnesota, he's gonna be a beast. He from watching him from the first day of practice to where he's currently residing at that left tackle position, he's doing that, but he's getting better each snap, every game. He's learning, and right now, he's not the problem. The problem with the Houston Texans has been coming up at their guard spots between the guard, center and guard. That's when they have had their weakest moments because. When they went to Seattle, the Seattle Seahawks feasted on the Houston Texans, not from the tackle spot, but it was in between the 2 and the 3 hole, man. They were just killing them up in between the middle, man. So, and I witnessed that firsthand. It's not what I saw on TV. I witnessed that firsthand because I was in Seattle for that game. So until they can solidify, and that's just the situation. And plus injuries, George, because right now. Titus Howard is out with a concussion. He's out now. I'm not sure. He's not playing this coming Sunday against the Titans because he's out with a concussion. He got a concussion against the Denver Broncos, so he's out. So, but here, I'm not sitting here making excuses. Everybody in the NFL has injuries right now, and bottom line is next man up. We know that's a cliche, but it's the reality. And if you hopefully you've drafted good enough, or you've procured enough players who can actually step in and play. And so from week to week, you're going to see this. And I hate to call it a hodgepodge, but that's exactly what it is. You putting five healthy bodies out there, hopefully to protect your prized possession. You know, your quarterback, who obviously not, because he's out on concussion protocol. So your backup quarterback, Davis Mills, who has started, and he got off to a rough start last week against the Jacksonville Jaguars, but they settled down. They came from 19 down and actually won that game. So that's a plus. Plus, you're talking about a divisional game, so. They owed the Jaguars a defeat because they had lost the first part of the season. They opened up, when they the conference play, they lost to the Jacksonville Jaguars. So that's what.
Any chance of Joe Mixon coming back this season?
I know you're a betting man. Why don't you make that a prop bet? Why don't you come up with a prop bet?
I don't like that, man. You see people going to jail over there prop betting, man. Hold up.
Hey, you know what?
Get ready to go to jail.
Look at George. I realize we came. You want to talk about the Texans, but you know what? I find it ironic. All of a sudden, the FBI is being able to find folks to throw in the jail for prop bets, but you can't find certain things and release certain information about certain other things that can have transpired with the quote unquote president of the United States right now. I know this is a sports show. I'm not going to try to be political, but anyway, maybe they might release some files and we'll find out more about. I like to have a prop bet on what's in them files.
Yeah, I know you got the mob involved, man. They trying to arrest some mobsters, man. The mob families, man. I haven't heard this in 30 years, man. They trying to arrest up. This is like going back to the 70s, man.
Well, George, think about this. What do we really expect when you invited? You remember how stringent the NFL was about big signs, no gambling, all of a sudden now you have gotten in the bed with all these betting agencies. What the hell did y'all really expect? Really?
Bilal, what did you expect, Bilal? Did you see this coming?
He's muted.
Oh, he's muted again.
Absolutely. The moment you make again, to the point, the moment you make it available for everyone to bet. And my dad used to have a saying. He used to say, pigs get fat, hogs get slaughtered. And the NFL has they've fallen in love with trying to take the product and play with it too much to try to make it bigger than it already is. If you put a good product on the field, it sells itself. So trying to do all this other stuff to find other channels and ways to bring in money, that really hurt the game. I found it personally ironic that all of the names associated with the gambling that were arrested in the NBA case were players and names that we know and recognize. Where all these where the mafia names? Mm-hmm. Where these they talked about Chauncey Billups and how Chauncey Billups now was arrested and went down, and knowing that this man when the story came out, it was really he just showed up to games and brought his friends to play, right? Not knowing that the games were set up or rigged. He's like, why would I jeopardize and risk my Hall of Fame career and legacy and a new contract extension? The Trailblazers just paid him a boatload of money. Why would he risk and jeopardize all that for whatever little bit of because once you in that coaching circuit and they're revering and respecting you as a coach, you can do that as long you don't have to worry about a job, and they know he's done the broadcasting thing. So he's not one of those NBA players where you feel like if he's not playing, he might be tempted to go into gambling. I just felt like there was a lot of name dropping and name calling about guys who who didn't really benefit. Where are the names of the guys who are really benefiting off of this gambling stuff?
Well, very good point.
Hey guys, I mean, and God rest his soul. it could have. I mean, not, and I'm not, and I'm trust me, I'm a long way from want to be a conspiracy theorist. But is this retribution paying for Pete Rose? I'm just saying. Pete. Everybody. We get kept. Is somebody back here trying to do a one up and make up for what happened to Pete Rose? So we got to, because if you look at it, it would seem slanted in that direction. All of a sudden, we moving it back, and the NBA has already had a stain on it from the Tim Donaghy situation with the referees. Okay, yeah. So that's it. It's sort of like you hate to. I mean, you hate to sort of sit back and go like, wait a minute, whose hand is actually controlling all of this in the background?
Absolutely.
So you just have to sort of sit back and be very, I'm questioning everything. I am literally questioning everything and what's going on right now, man.
Yeah, because the Fanatic, Morris Thompson on the Beltway says, when they allowed online betting, that was the beginning of the end. And you're absolutely right, because I thought you were just betting on games, but now they got this prop betting where you can bet on quarters. You're not now betting on the outcome of games anymore. You can also bet on all kinds of crazy stuff. The two pitchers, all the pitcher did was throw the ball in the dirt, and allegedly he helped a friend of his, one of his best friends, win some money. So don't you think that's going to happen when you're saying a guy can throw? I mean, he's not going to strike a guy out, or when you allowing stuff within these sporting events that people allow them to bet on instead of just betting on the outcomes of the games, that's, to me, you open up Pandora's box. You said it best, AD. These sporting leagues have gotten in bed with the gamblers where before they need to get away. I hope they could do that. Say, hey, be big enough to say, hey, we got to get away from these gamblers. It's just I don't know if it's going to ever happen.
How would you do it at this point?
Well, think about it. Hey, George, think about it. Before it was actually formalized being in the bed. Why do you think that the injury report was so, everybody was waiting for the injury report, the official injury report to come out on Wednesdays? Remember way back in everybody?
Yep.
Why do you just go? Let's go back a few years and start before everything was so had been formalized and everybody was so, chubby with one another. The injury report before, because remember how the lines would change once the injury reports used to come out? But exactly. And all of a sudden now, you're not seeing that big of a movement on the lines now because basically everything is so open right now. There's no big swing on the lines right now, and I'm not out of Vegas or anything, but you don't see that situation right now.
Exactly, and I know we run an excellent conversation, Jim. We're going to definitely have to continue it, but we're going to bring in BacSpin. I know you're coming in, but we could wrap before we go. Everybody, Kimmy does it best with custom web design and ongoing maintenance. Kimmy can help your business online grow. Visit KimmyDoesItBest.com or contact her, KimmyDoesItBest.com, or support at SUPPORT, support at Kimmy, KIMMY, doesitbest.com. Check her out, her website, and check out our picks, realdealsportshow.com. She developed and put our website together. It's an excellent website. Check out the Radman's picks this week on the Winner's Edge so you can see our picks and see what we have to offer. BacSpin, you there with us?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Hey, what you think? We get you in there real quick. What's your comment on the on all this prop betting and
I mean,
gambling? Can we get out of gambling?
They should. Once, my father always said that the game was fixed, and this was before the gambling was legal. So, he always said the fix was in by, at how some of these games, end up playing out in the bookies' favor a lot of times. But once they legalized gambling, I like my man said, it was the beginning of the end because, now it's legal. Any and everybody could do it. It's too much money out there. And just look at the way the NFL plays a part in this. When CeeDee Lamb got hurt, when they handed him off the ball and he got hurt, they took him off the field. Now, everybody who placed a bet on CeeDee Lamb would have gotten that money back for that bet. So what did they do? They bring CeeDee Lamb out from the tunnel, bring him back in the game for one play just so they could cancel and not give everybody all their money back when he got hurt, because I guess there's a rule that you have to play so much amount of time in order for the bet to be, legal or whatever. So
really?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
So he got hurt. They took him out. They would have had to refund everybody their money who placed a bet on CeeDee Lamb. Instead, What does the NFL do? They bring him back in for one play just so they wouldn't have to make that payout. Now, if you can't tell me they aren't in cahoots. You know what I mean? The NFL should not be profiting off of gambling. They just like players couldn't, what the Pete Rose rule or whatever. I feel like the NBA or the NFL, actually all sports teams, have gotten in bed with these FanDuels and these DraftKings, and they're all making money. And now there's no more integrity to the game once this betting became available to everybody. And yeah, a lot of people can make some money, but most people are losing their shirts on these FanDuel and DraftKings. And the NFL and the NBA, all sports teams should be ashamed of themselves for even allowing this gambling thing to happen. You look at the NFL and they got celebrities sponsoring these gambling sites and stuff like that. Like, all of this is to take Americans' money, and I don't think it's right. Like, it's jeopardizing the integrity of the game. And
absolutely. And now players and their families are being threatened now by people.
Yeah, I mean, it's big money. They should have left it to the mob and the bookies, and they should have left it there, because once you get all of these entities in this space to make money, it's like how they legalize marijuana for the states to get paid. It's the same thing with gambling in these sports franchises. You can't tell me that they're not getting kickbacks from these gambling sites. It's just a bad way for us as fans who want to see good, clean games being played. I think it's just dirtying up the game, and it's going to get worse. They should get rid of it.
There you have it. And I think we're almost out of time, BacSpin.
Yes, indeed. That's just about our time. I was on my Rad Man rant right there.
Sounds like it, man. We got you, Rad. Did an unexpected rant there. Appreciate your comments.
Yeah, but I definitely do not like gambling in professional sports. I think it just jeopardizes the integrity of the game, and that's what we're seeing with all these, cases coming out with, the Chauncey Billups of the world and whatnot. But like my man said, we're only seeing faces that are known to the public. Where are these mafiosos? If it's a mob run ring, well, where the hell they at? You know what I mean? Right. So I'm not liking the way the narrative is playing out.
Yeah, and I know it's more than 2 baseball players that are involved in this too.
Right.
Come on.
Right.
Come on.
This whole thing is like, it probably goes all the way to the top, really. You know what I mean? And
right, AD?
It's the tip of the iceberg.
Well, here's the question: where is the top? Where is the top?
I think this is just the tip of the iceberg. I believe, you're probably going to have politicians caught up in all of this stuff. Like, the government didn't regulate and legalize this stuff for no reason. Somebody is getting paid down the line, and there's a pyramid structure, I'm sure. And if the feds do a real investigation, I'm sure we're going to see some, big names start to come to the forefront as far as this whole gambling ring is concerned.
Absolutely. We got a lot of comments on it online, everybody. Hey, we look forward to catching you next week. AD, thank you so much for coming on. I'll see you in Houston later in the week.
Not a problem. Appreciate it.
High school football report next week. You're going to talk about HL against Monroe game, the results of that, and who the Buffalo schools are. We're going to have, so it's a lot to talk about, Bilal. Look forward to seeing you next week as well.
Yeah, looking forward to it. And we're going to touch on and talk about the East High Brighton game last night. We'll talk about that next week. A lot of good football going on. Can't wait to see you there.
All righty.
No doubt. Keep it where you need it, Rad Man. Thank you so much. Real Deal Sports Show every Saturday morning, 8 a.m. right here on the beat 105.5. Keep it where you need it. Rock City coming up It's the Bag of Time Mix Show. It's on the way right here on the B.